So good evening, everyone. My name is Ketan Tiwari, and thank you very much to him for arranging this session. So I'm a part of the admissions team at ISB. And as you know, ISB is the premier institute in the country if you are going for an MBA education. So just to give you a brief history of ISB, we started 20 years back in 2001. And for the past 2 decades, it has been a case of continuous and undulated achievements for us. So we were the first who introduced the one-year MBA program in India. We were the pioneers of it, and which is now being replicated and offered by very many institutions in India and abroad. Also, we were the first in South Asia to be given the coveted AACSB accreditation, which is the oldest MBA accreditation body in the world. It's a USA body. Also, we are amongst the top 1% institutions in the world, or I should say less than 1% institutions who have got a triple crown accreditation from AACSB, IQUIS, which is a European body, and AMBA, which is a body for MBA accreditations in UK. So we knew it from the very beginning that in order to become that, epitome of excellence as far as delivering education is concerned, we'll have to collaborate with best in the world. And therefore, you can see Kellogg's and Wharton, they were our founding partners. Also, as we moved along, we realized that in order to become that consummate global institute of high repute, that quintessential global institution we are talking about, we'll also have to focus not only on expounding knowledge, we also have to focus upon creating knowledge, right? And therefore, there was a lot of emphasis on the research and innovation activities that were going on. And hence, we partnered with the London Business School and MIT Sloan, who have gone their unique pedigree in terms of research and innovation, which they have done over the years. Simply, moving forward, we partnered with the Fletcher School from Tufts University, who have got an unmatched expertise in law, legal environment, and public policy. So much so that public policy is one of the industry specializations today at ISB. So what these collaborations bring to us, they bring to us the best of pedagogy, the best of curriculum, and more importantly, the faculty and the student exchanges, which happen as a direct result of these collaborations that we have. So taking cognizance of the kind of levels we have maintained for our education and research, we have been bestowed with top rankings by the leading agencies of the world. So the Financial Times Global MBA Rankings 2022, which are the MBA rankings to look for globally, they rank us as number 1 in India, number 4 in Asia, and number 32 globally. Also, something which might be of interest to you, we are ranked number 1 in the world in terms of salary growth, which I'll explain later as we move ahead. Similarly, taking cognizance of the research activities that we are doing, the AMA 2020 Research Productivity Rankings rank us as number 1 in Asia and number 44 globally. Also, you can have a look at the Bloomberg's ranking. And I'm happy to announce that in the latest Bloomberg rankings also, we have maintained our position in India and Asia Pacific. So this is the kind of corroboration we have received over the years by not only the foreign agencies, the leading agencies of the world, but also by the top personages of India's leadership. So in 2001, it was Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee who visited the campus and graced the occasion. When it was the 10th year, it was Dr. Manmohan Singh. And recently, we had the honor and privilege of hosting Sri Narendra Modi into the campus. I had a small video of him visiting the campus, but I removed it in order to make it small. You can also get it on YouTube. And he had some good things to say about ISB and how we are helping the nation in our own unique way. Right. So moving ahead, we go on to the value propositions which come to you when you become a part of PGP. The program which we have at ISB is faculty. That's the first value proposition. So you understand that faculty is the pedestal on which the edifice of a great institution is built. And at ISB, we boast of a very strong 70+ in-house faculty members. And these are all research-oriented faculty members, which means that apart from their teaching credentials in almost all the top institutions in the world or global institutions that we are a part of or we are partners with, they are also associated with various research projects. And they have been a part of very many research innovative things that they have done. And it all percolates down to the curriculum, which is given to the students and the kind of case studies they get to learn with the help of these faculties. If we talk about the visiting faculty, we have an entire pool, entire pantheon of 200+ visiting faculty members from all the partner institutions we have. And what they bring about is the kind of vicarious experience of working in different economies, different research projects that they've been a part of, and different industry projects which they have taken over the years. In ISB, we have a unique portfolio-based faculty model, which means that people who are or who were a part of a particular portfolio, they are given a chance to teach a particular subject. For example, if you know Mr. Krishnamurthy Subramaniam, he until last year was the chief economic advisor for the government of India, and he teaches finance and economics at ISB. Similarly, we have Mr. Edward Rogers, who was the chief knowledge officer at NASA, and he teaches business complexities at ISB, and he has been doing it for the last 10 years. So this is the kind of star-studded portfolio-based faculty model which we have at ISB, and you stand a very good chance to learn from their experiences. The second one is, of course, the integrated learning, which means the learning at ISB is a concoction of classroom learning and the other forms of learning that you can see over here: applied learning, peer learning, and events and competition. So if we only talk about the classroom learning, we have 8 terms. It's a 52-week program. It's a 1-year program. So you can do a simple division and figure out that it's almost 6.5 weeks per term. So for the first 3.5 terms, you study some 14 core courses. For the next 4.5 terms, you study 17 to 21 electives out of an entire plethora and a gamut of 80 plus electives that we have. And all these things are coming to you in the form of case methodology based learning. We also have 10 specializations to choose from for our industry. The industry specializations are healthcare, infrastructure, manufacturing, and public policy, which I mentioned in the first slide, which I was discussing about. Also, if I talk about the functional specializations, we have marketing, finance, operations, IT, entrepreneurship, and strategy and leadership. Also, we have applied learning, which means that whatever you're learning in the class today, you have a chance to apply that knowledge in the real life industry scenario tomorrow. And in experiential learning program, which comes under the applied learning, you get to visit the top companies of a particular sector. You meet the top bosses of those companies. You discuss the kind of problems which they are having, the bottlenecks which they have, and you are given a chance to come up with plausible solutions to those problems. You are also given a chance to make a presentation in front of the board for the kind of solutions which you are proposing for those problems. Also, we have planning and entrepreneurship venture. And for applied learning, I also want to say that what it does is that what you are learning in the class today, you again apply that tomorrow, because this is happening side by side from the classroom learning. There is no separate time which is allotted for experiential learning program. So you are testing your knowledge every day. I'm sure many of you would also like to be entrepreneurs. So we have planning and entrepreneurship venture, which means if you have the slightest of ardor or a passion to become an entrepreneur, you can submit your ideas, and it is taken at ISB from a very nascent stage, and it is taken to the culmination stage, that is actually setting up a company, right? So we have very many students who have come up with their own companies. Many unicorns have taken shape out of ISB, which again we will discuss again as we move ahead. So we can also give you funding if your business is or business idea is so good, and you can sustain your business with that kind of a funding for a particular period of time. Peer learning, we alluded to the fact that we have many exchange programs happening. So there are 50 plus international exchange programs which are there at ISB, and you can spend a term or two at any of the top institutions in the world, depending upon the kind of curriculum you are a part of. Similarly, there are very many professional and social clubs that you can be a part of, and you also get a chance to stand for the leadership positions in those clubs, which again is a very important aspect of developing as a leader in the life to come. Also, it's an in-campus living. There are very many events and competition. And we also have the ISB Sports League, which is a replica of IPL or EPL. So these are serious sports to be won. So if you can be a part of any of the sport, from cricket, hockey, football, lawn tennis, table tennis, squash, and whatnot. So this is the kind of holistic integrated learning program that we have at ISB. Moving forward, we are talking about the class diversity. So ISB PGP is probably the most diverse MBA cohort that you will get in the country. We have army majors sitting in the class with 20 years of experience. We have beauty contest winners and runners-up. As you can see here, we have public speakers, musicians, dramatists, artists and painters and doctors and whatnot. And don't get me wrong, not everybody is a maverick. People do come from regular industry profiles as well. So very many people come from 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years of experience, and they also become a part of such a diverse cohort. So what happens is, with different kind of ideas permeate in the atmosphere, and you learn a lot from different types of people who are coming from different industries, who have had their own ups and downs. They tell their experiences, share their eclectic experience amongst the people, and you learn how they surmounted those problems and how the industry looks like from where they are coming in. So that's the kind of diversity we are talking about at ISB. We are also talking about maintaining the diversity across the 2 campuses that we have in Hyderabad and Mohali. So if we talk about gender diversity, this is probably one of the better or the best gender diversity that you will get in any of the top institutions in the country. Is 37% females in the class. Similarly, you are all preparing for GMAT, I guess. So the GMAT range that we have at ISB is 610 to 780 with an average of 710, which shows that there is somebody sitting in the class with a 610 also, and there is somebody with a 780. So it's not only your test score which guarantees you an admission at ISB. It's a holistic profile-based evaluation, which we'll talk about later. For GRE also, we have a range from 306 to 339, and these are the data for the present class that we have at ISB. Similarly, we have 43% non-engineers in the class. If you compare it with any of the top institutions in the country, for MBA, this is the best percentage. Age profile wise, we have 20 to 45 years that you will get in the class. Work experience wise, it's 4.6 years of work experience, and we have people in the class with 2 years to 24 years that you can find. So if you are looking at the slide, the blue figures are for the Hyderabad campus, the green ones are for Mohali, and the black ones are the average for both the campuses that we have. Quality network, probably this is one of the most scintillating aspects of ISB, and it's a very strong and potent alumni network that we have. It's a humongous network spread across 60 countries and 400 cities. 500. We talk about this being a very, potent alumni network. If you look at the figure at the top, 550 of the alumni are holding the top CEO or CXO level positions around the globe, right? And that is a huge repository of practical industry experience. As we invite these alumni to talk to you and they share their experiences about how the industry looks like, how it will look like in the next 10 years, the prognostication of it, and more importantly, what are the skills that you need to accumulate and garner if you want to make it big in those particular industries from where they're coming from. That's so this knowledge is coming from, people who are the head honkos, people who are actually leading those particular industries and companies. Similarly, if you look at the, data at the bottom, 600 plus alumni have started their own venture, which basically endorses our efforts and views that we plan in, or we basically propagate. We promote anybody who wants to become an entrepreneur. If he has any passion, any ardor, then we give all kinds of support for that person to go out and start their own venture. 11 unicorns have taken shape out of ISB. I'll have to change my slide. It's 12 unicorns now. I'll name a few companies which the ISB alumni have started. So you must have heard about Upgrad, Car Dekho. There is Boat, which is into musical instruments. Aman Gupta, he was into Shark Tank, if you remember. There is MyGate app, which is used in most of the societies these days. There is InMobi, which is into mobile advertising technologies. That's also a unicorn. And there are many companies. You can do your own research and figure out the kind of companies which the ISB alumni have started. Okay, so world-class facilities, that's a given because a world-class institution requires world-class facilities. But as far as the learning experience is concerned, there is hardly any difference across the two campuses that we have. So it's a one school, two campus, one experience kind of a thing that we propagate. There is a central admissions team, people like us who keep on moving from one campus to another. Simply also, when the placement companies come at the very end, they do not know which campus you're coming from, Hyderabad or Mohali. For them, you are ISB students. Also, your certificates do not mention anywhere that you are a student of Hyderabad or Mohali. For all of us and for even the placement or the companies, you are ISB students, and that's what matters. So the only difference across the two campuses is that probably Mohali gets a bit chillier in winters. I like winters personally, so that's what you get at Mohali more than Hyderabad. Also, career opportunities. I'm reaching the business end of this presentation now. This is probably one of the slides which you will be looking at with intent. And these are the figures for the last batch which passed out. So ISB PGP has been transcending its limit for the past many years, and 34.07 lakhs. This is the highest average CTC ever recorded at ISB. And again, as I said, these are the data for the last batch which passed out. Around 930 or 20 students were made some 2,066 offers, which means on an average, every student had more than 2 offers to choose from. We said that ISB is #1 in the world in terms of salary growth, which is 173.67%, which is basically a ratio between the incoming salary and outgoing salary out of ISB. Very good or very pertinent information is also exuded by these Venn diagrams, which show that 79% people make a functional shift after passing out from ISB, or we facilitate that kind of a shift. Similarly, 78.5, a similar percentage of people make an industry shift from ISB, and a whopping 65.28 make both a functional and an industry shift which goes to show the kind of humongous work which is done by the career and advancement services team, the placement team from the background to get in the kind of profiles and the kind of companies that you people aspire for. Similarly, there are 8.77% people who were accepted for leadership roles, and these basically add to the 550 alumni who are holding the top CEO and CXO level positions. These are some of the participating recruiters that we had at the campus. Of course, the slide is not too big for me to mention all the logos, but if you want a more elaborate, more intricate information, you can go onto the website and check the placement records that we have for the last 4 years. You will get in detail what kind of companies and what kind of profiles are offered to the students at ISB. So these are some of the scholarships also which can come to you if you're aspiring to become a PGP candidate. So we have merit waivers. So as the name suggests, if you fall in the merit, these kind of scholarships come to you. They can be up to 100% of the tuition fee. Need-based waivers. So anybody of you who can prove that your family income is less than 18 lakhs, then you can go for, or you can be given a need-based waiver. Diversity waiver is for somebody who is coming from very diverse background. We want those diverse profiles to be in the class, and hence this diversity waiver is given to them. International diversity, again, for somebody who is, working or studying internationally, he wants to come back to India. We also give some kind of scholarships to them. You can see 2 photographs here, Pooja and Chirag. They were the ones who got 100% scholarships for this year. You can also connect with them on LinkedIn if you want to. Similarly, there are many scholarships which can come to you after you become a part of PGP. There are 70 plus corporate scholarships which are available after you become a part of PGP cohort. You have to just write an essay for them and then state why you deserve this kind of a scholarship. Around 25 to 35% of the cohort get some scholarship or the other. So we talked about all the good things, the packages, the tie-ups and the exchange programs, but how you get into it. For all of you who are having, there are 3 modes of entry, as you can see. For all of you who are having an experience of 2 years or above, for you, it's a direct entry, which means, don't get me wrong, direct entry does not mean direct admissions. It simply means that if you apply and go through the process, and if you get selected, you can join the batch starting April 2023. Similarly, early entry option is for the people who have got 0 to 2 years of experience. They can also apply, they go through the same process, but if they make it to ISB, they are given a deferred admission, which means they can only join the batch once they complete 24 months of work experience. That's very important. Also, we have a young leaders program for the people who are studying in college. So they can apply while they are in the 3rd year or 4th year, or I should say pre-final year and final year. They can also join, they can also apply for the program. Their selection process is divided into 3 stages. And if they make it, they are, also given a deferred admission, and they can join the program after having 20 months of work experience. So these are the 3 modes of entry for the PGP program that we have. So what are we looking for in a candidate? So some are the basic essential, the hygiene factors. Everybody needs to have a bachelor's degree. They need to have a work experience and they have to complete that. Similarly, you have to submit your GMAT or GRE score, right? But your selection, as I said, is not just dependent upon these things. The other aspects of your application are also taken into consideration, like your academics, your employment details. I mean, how many years of work experience you have, what kind of profile you have. You have to write 2 essays, which are very important. And these 2 essays, as you can see, they focus upon the uniqueness of your personality and the kind of career orientation that you have. I can take more questions on these essays once we finish off with these presentations. These essays become very important because whatever you write in these essays, they boomerang back to you as a question when you're sitting for the interview. So do not be melodramatic. Do not write something which you are not, and just present yourself in the best possible way. So that's what I would say. I'll, save the rest for the question answer session. We also need 1 recommendation, which is a letter of recommendation. And for anybody who's a working professional, the letter of recommendation has to come from his immediate supervisor or boss or any of the seniors of the company. So these are all the aspects of the application which are looked into. And then, you make it to the interview round. In interview also, you are interviewed by the former alums of ISB. In ISB, the professors don't interview you. It's the alums who interview you. And the interview score and application score is merged into one to get you the merit score, and through which you can also go to the merit scholarship, which I showed you 2 slides back. So this is the kind of selection process in short that we have at ISB. We have 2 rounds of selection or the application for ISB. We are already done with 2 rounds. September 4 was the first round. December 4 was the second, and the third round, the deadline for which is 29 Jan, is showcased here 2023 for everybody who's a direct entry and early entry option candidate. So that's the end of a short and crisp presentation from my side. I mean, you can also write to us at pgp@isb.edu to get more information. You can connect with me at LinkedIn. My name is Ketan Tiwari. And in case you have later on also you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to, set up a call and have a word with you. So, okay. So I think I'm done with my my monologue here. So what I would request is if you can just raise your hands, I'll take your questions one by one. I can unmute you and then you can go ahead with your question. So I'm just waiting for you to raise your hands now. Okay, so the first one we have is Kavya. Kavya, please go ahead.
Hi, Ketan. This is Kavya here.
Hi.
Yeah, so Ketan, you were talking about the MBA program in ISB. So are you talking about the executive MBA or the full-time MBA?
I'm talking about the full-time MBA, the one-year PGP program for which I just made the presentation. I look after the MBA itself, and I'm also the regional manager for the same program in North.
All right. So, but you were also speaking about the working professionals in the industry, who take up the full-time MBA, like, who have working experience of 5 years or 20 years plus, right? So how is it different from the executive MBA at ISB?
Look, I was not talking about the executive MBA. I was only talking about the PGP. So what happens is it's a full-time program. There are different people who have, 2 years to 24 years of experience. So let's say if there are 2-3 types of programs at ISB. So this is the flagship program at ISB, the PGP 1 year full-time, for which you obviously resign from your job, you come back to the campus and you study, right? It's a 52-week program. There are other programs like PGP Pro and PGP Max, for which, of course, you don't need to, put your papers. You can do it in a modular basis. The classes happen every second weekend. And, but there is no placement support for that program. The placement support that you get is only for the flagship program that we have at ISB, which is the PGP, which I talked about.
All right. Okay. And how is it also advantageous for us? Like we'd be taking GMAT, right? So we'd also be trying abroad. So how is it advantageous? Like how is ISB's flagship program more helpful?
Right. So let's say there are 2-3 things for which you want to go abroad, right? So first of all is the experience that you want to have, the kind of faculty, the kind of curriculum, and the kind of placements. Of course, you want to have a placement in the end. So ISB for 2-3 reasons has been regarded, or it has been rated as #1 in India. Firstly is the kind of, the kind of tie-ups we have. All the top institutions in the world, we have got a tie-up with. Their faculties come to ISB. They stay in the campus for the entire duration of the term. What we understand in common parlance is that a visiting faculty is one who just visits the campus, delivers a one-odd lecture and goes back. But ISB, these faculties stay for the entire duration, complete their program, and then go back to their native institutions. So you have a chance to hobnob with them, to learn from their experiences. So that gives you the kind of exposure. Also, we have very many exchange programs, so you can go to any of the top institutions in the world, spend an entire term or 2 there, so you can gain that kind of an experience also. Similarly, the kind of placements which I just showed, these are the average numbers that we have. I'm not supposed to divulge the highest CTC. You can do your own research and figure out what kind of highest CTC we are offering. So for a candidate, let's say, coming to ISB means that you are studying in the top institution in India, which is ranked 32 globally, and you get all the kind of exposure that you're looking for, and you spend 3 times less as what you would spend in any of the top institutions abroad. So these are the few things for which you come to ISB.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, Ketan. That answers my question.
Yeah. Okay. So I can see Priya. Priya, can you please go ahead?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I guess I'm audible. Okay.
Yes,
First of all, my question is that does teaching experience count for PGP program at ISB?
Yes, it does, Priya. Absolutely, it does.
Okay. And my second question is that let's say if somebody is coming from a teaching background and further, if in future would like to switch to some other domain, let's say either HR or marketing. So does ISB provide such type of opportunities?
Yes, it does.
Type of candidates?
I'll tell you. you must have seen in my presentation that almost, 79% people make a functional shift, almost a similar percentage of people make an industry shift. And these are all working professionals we are talking about, right? So let's say, I can give you the example of very many people who were in, let's say, army with a 20 years of experience, and they went into logistics companies, right? They went into consulting companies. So we provide these opportunities to you because we prepare you for these kind of, industry changes and the functional changes that you're looking for by the way of the curriculum that we have, the kind of specializations, the faculty who are always there with you to help you guide which kind of an industry is better for you, and the kind of experiential learning programs and short-term projects that you undertake at ISB. So it's a very grilling program, but that's what you get in the end, the kind of transformation that you're actually looking for in your career.
Okay, I was actually a little confused about teaching experience.
No. So teaching experience is well taken care of. Yeah.
Okay, school teaching experience.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, and my third question is that apart from getting score in GMAT, what one can do to boost up their profile?
Okay, so let's say it's a holistic profile-based evaluation. So everything in your profile matters. So let's say your academics, your 10th, 12th graduation, right? It also has got some weightage. Your GRE or GMAT, whatever you're wanting to give, again, the test score has got some weightage as well. Your job, what you're doing, the kind of profile you are into, the essays that you write, they become very important because the essays, they give you a chance to portray your own beautiful picture in the best possible way. So I'm a part of the admissions team. I can say that there are a few things which we are looking for in that essay. What we are looking for is why somebody wants to come and do an MBA. Let's say, what are his short-term and long-term goals? Why do they think that PGP is going to bring that kind of a transformation that they're looking for? Or let's say somebody like you who is wanting to change an industry, are there some transferable skills which you have right now, which can be put to good use in the particular industry of your choice? So these are all the things which they are trying to find answers to in the questions or in the essays that you write. And we have got 2 essays, right? So it's how you project your app, and then 1 letter of recommendation also from where you're working. So, it's a holistic profile-based learning. I have seen very many people who get rejected with a 770. I have had a word with very many people who with a 750 could not make it to ISB. And you saw that there was somebody in the class with a 610 also, right? So you can compensate for one aspect of your application, which is just a little bit weaker, by the other aspects of your application. Apart from that, if you're doing in a part-time stuff, let's say if you are an entrepreneur, if you're doing your own business somewhere, right? Or let's say you are associated with a social venture, you are associated with an NGO, you do some kind of social service. Or let's say if you're a player, I mean, let's say you are a state level or a national level player, and maybe your GMAT score or GRE score is not the best in the world, not an earth-shattering score kind of a thing, but you can still make up for it. We have had interactions with people who came from Nepal. I was in Nepal a few days back. One of the alumni, he had a band in Nepal, and he came to ISB. He had around 680, and he was interviewed for his guitar playing skills, right? Okay, and he was admitted at ISB. So everything in your profile matters. It's not only about the test score. Whatever you've done, all the things, all the accolades, all the awards and achievements that you have, everything matters and taken care of. That's the beauty of the selection process that we have at ISB.
Okay. And sir, what tips can you provide to write down those essays in a very straightforward manner?
So look, you have to write about yourself. You have to write what you aspire to be and how does PGP help you do that. So link it that way, right? Let's say you are coming from a particular background and you want to go somewhere or reach somewhere. So we are not asking you to write down the name of the company where you want to go into, but we definitely want to understand why you want to come and do, what kind of skills you want to acquire, and which kind of industry you want to make a mark, and how do you think that PGP or ISB is going to help you achieve that. In a nutshell, that is what we are trying to understand. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, so I can see Syed Ibrahim. Syed, please go ahead.
Hey, good evening, Ketan. How are you?
I'm fine, Syed. How are you?
Good. Yeah, actually, I have a couple of questions. Like, I would like you to answer it.
Yeah.
Okay. So first, I will brief about myself. Like, I'm an ERP consultant in supply chain, and I'm working in Kuwait. Okay. So the first question will be like, how ISB sees international diversity? Like you have said in scholarships, we have an international diversity scholarship.
Yeah.
Okay. So how ISB like treat those peoples? Like, on what basis you will get those international diversity scholarship?
So we treat them well, right? So what happens is, like let's say when you fill the application form, there are a few pointers or few tabs which are open at that point of time as to which kind of scholarships which you want to apply for, right? So, I mean, when you are putting an application for ISB, you automatically apply for a merit scholarship. For merit scholarship, you don't need to do anything else, right? But there is also a tab for international diversity. So you can put a tick on that tab, and automatically, when you submit the application goes to the process team, and they decide what kind of a scholarship should come to a candidate depending upon, his credentials and what kind of work and what kind of profile he's had over the years. So that's what we do.
Okay, so like there is no bar for the like income, nothing like.
No. It's not dependent on the income that you have. Not at all. No.
Not at all. Okay. The second question will be like placement. Like how will be the placement procedure like?
I'll tell you. So what happens is it's an 8-term program that I just mentioned. Your placement season starts by the end of 5th term. Between the 5th and 6th, 90% of people get placed. Leftovers are placed in the 7th term. So it has never happened in the history of ISB being ISB, that anybody has been left without getting a place. So it has never happened, even in the darkest hours of 2008 to 10, where we had a big time recession. Right. So it has never happened in the history of ISB. So placement data, I cannot divulge the highest placements that we have.
Yeah, sure.
But that will give you an idea that between 5th and 6th, the career advancement services team works very closely to get you the kind of placements. They also do these application workshops, or I should say interview workshops, or they try and ornate and beautify your curriculum, CVs and your resumes that you have. Very many things are done to prepare you for the interview things or the placement thing, which is which basically happens in the 5th or 6th term. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then the last one is like, as you said, like there is only diversity in the like class, like there will be like a band or like an athlete or a former soldier. So what for the people who are like very normal, like they have done the schooling, then +2, then they've done the engineering, then they got a job. Like you've already answered this question, like they are also such people like this, but like what will be their like what uniqueness they should show, like apart from the professional life and like their education.
So what happens is, there is a kind of a weightage which is given to diversity. So which I already mentioned. Now, most of the people who apply to ISB are like profiles like you, who are working in an MNC or who are working somewhere, who have done their 10th, 12th graduation, engineering, right? And this is what they are trying to get into the campus. So yes. So there are a few things which, differentiate between you and any other applicant. First of all, how you put your application forward. What is the thought process that you have of coming to ISB? That, goes a long way into, establishing the fact that you have thought about it well. You know the nuances of it. You've gotten into the intricacies of it, and you know what exactly are you trying to achieve out of the program. That becomes extremely important. It does not matter which kind of background, which kind of city, which kind of place you come from. What we try and understand is how clear you are. What is the kind of clarity of thought that you have in mind? That becomes extremely important. Apart from that, let's say, as I said, there are very many people who are coming with engineering background who still have 57% engineers in the class, right? So you being an engineer is not some kind of an impediment, or it's not something which is deleterious in the progress of your application. So definitely there are things like, let's say, everybody cannot have a star academic profile. Your work profile, what you are doing in that company also matters. It is not only dependent upon the kind of company or the name of company you're coming from. It also matters as to what is your profile in that particular company. What are you trying to achieve out of it, right? So everything is taken. And then the GMAT and GRE. I mean, if you are preparing for it, I'm sure you are, of course. So it's not about getting 800, right? You get a kind of a score, and then you build your profile accordingly. Any kind of extracurriculars, right? Any kind of initiatives that you've taken in the company that you're working for, right? Any kind of leadership potential that we see into you. Everything, differentiates or segregates your profile from everybody else who is applying. So, it's all normal people. Nobody's coming from Mars. All are earthly beings, and they make it to ISB that way. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The last question will be like, if you apply for the 3rd round, and again I applied for the 1st round of the next year, like in 2023. So will have any like previous link or something like that, or you will treat me like a new person? Like,
yeah, so you will be considered as a reapplicant, and we don't have any bias towards reapplicant. Right? You know, very many people, many thousands apply for ISB, right? 900 get selected, and you understand that so many people reapply. So from our side, there is no bias for the reapplicant. In fact, you also get to write a reapplicant essay if you are a reapplicant, which further gives you a chance to explain why your candidature this time is better vis-a-vis how it was last time. So in fact, we promote this kind of a thing, this kind of a perseverance that you people might have. And first of all, you've not even applied to third round. So we don't even think that far, right? So I assume that you make it, you apply in third round and make it to ISB straight away, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's the point. Okay, thanks for answering the questions.
Before I take the next, you have any other questions, Sayed?
No, thank you so much.
So before I take another question, I'm also there in the LinkedIn by the name of Ketan Tiwari. Anybody of you who may not be able to ask questions here can connect me on LinkedIn, and I'll be able to take any of your queries one-to-one basis there also. So I can see Monisha. Monisha, please go ahead.
Hello, Ketan. My name is Monisha.
Hi.
And right now I'm working with L&T Defense.
Yeah.
And I'm into shipping domain. Shipping and construction domain. So my first question is, since I could not join early, so about the fee structure. My second question is about the related branches of MBA, which are related to shipping, like port and shipping management or anything like that. Because in most of the colleges which I have seen, very few of them provide these sort of discipline.
Yeah.
So, and the third thing I would like to ask about the lowest salary package, because I have seen in some of the colleges they provide financial assistance if your lower salary is less than the average package. So, is there anything like that?
Okay, so I'll try and recollect your first question, right? So the first question was, I mean, what it was, Monisha? I'm sorry, I just forgot it.
First question was regarding the fee structure.
Yeah. Okay. So the fee for the 1-year PGP program at ISB is 32 lakhs plus GST, right? Okay. So that is the kind of fee that you have for a 1-year MBA program, and with the kind of placements you joined late. So the placement data, if I want to show you, I'll just I'll probably speak about it. So it's 34.07, which is the average CTC that we have at ISB, right? And the highest goes much above that. So you can do your own research and figure out. We also have a placement record for the last 4 years on website. So you can also go and check that. So this is the kind of fee that we have. Secondly, I don't think I'll tell you the kind of specializations that we have at ISB. So we have 4 industry and 6 functional specializations. For industry, we have healthcare, infrastructure, manufacturing, and public policy. So if there is anything related to the manufacturing and infrastructure, then I think it can be related to you somewhere. Also, even in the same sector that you're coming from, we have functional specializations that you want to specialize in marketing, finance, operations, IT, entrepreneurship, and strategy and leadership. So these are the kind of specializations that you can choose from. Apart from that, the faculty that we have is coming from all the 52 global top institutions that we have. And these are the faculties who are coming from different industries. They have their own working experience of 10 to 30 years in those particular industries. So you can take up any of the projects with the help of those faculties also. Let's say if you want to make a career in that particular industry, and also if you want to change your industry, that can also be facilitated with the kind of curriculum that we provide. The third one is, you talked about the financial aid. Okay. So yes. There is a financial aid by the name of need-based waiver or need-based scholarship, which means that anybody who has a family income of less than 18 lakhs, they can apply for the need-based waiver. And when they get selected, a certain kind of scholarship comes to them. Also, let's say I'm talking about everybody for the benefit of everybody, that not everybody, let's say, gets a scholarship. So if you have gotten a selection at ISB, what you can do is that you can just go with that offer letter to any of the top institutions or any of the top banks in the country, and you can get up to 40 lakhs of loan without any collaterals. That's the power of the offer letter that you generate from ISB. So I'm not sure if I answered exactly what kind of queries you have, but this is the kind of information that I wanted to convey.
No, actually the third question was a bit different.
Yeah.
I was asking about the average CTC you already told.
Yeah.
There may be a possibility that someone scores holds an offer of less CTC. So there are some institutions which provide financial assistance, like some sort of a scholarship or something, when the program is complete.
Okay.
So any such like thing is provided, like
no, I don't think there is any kind of scholarship for the people who go for a low package, because probably nobody complains about a low package, honestly.
No, low package means if your average average package which you are providing is 18 lakhs, and there may be possibility that someone has got 10 lakhs package. So in that case, there are some institutions which provide the financial aid, because most of us take the loan.
Right. Okay. So no, I don't think there is any such kind of scholarship. And probably this is the first time that anybody has asked me this question. So probably I'll take it to the process team also, but I don't understand that. I don't think that in my comprehensible limits, there is any such kind of scholarship which is provided to somebody who goes on a lower package. Right. And, that's the answer which I have right now.
What is the average package which ISB generally gives?
Is 34.07.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, I have Padma. Padma, please go ahead.
Hi, Ketan. First of all, good evening.
Good evening.
So Padma here, and I'm a chartered accountant, but I'm not a practicing chartered accountant. I work for an MNC, PwC.
Yeah.
So I just want you to reiterate the thing which you have mentioned about the diversity in the classroom. So basically engineers, yeah, we do have, but what sort of value addition do we have? Anything like for chartered accountants? Because I know like very few of my colleagues, in my vicinity at least, they approach for the MBA. So is there any value addition for chartered accountants?
So a lot of people, in fact, at ISB, a lot of chartered accountants apply, because, when you are a chartered accountant, or let's say when you are an engineer, you are proficient in a particular sphere of work. Let's say you are good in technology, you are good in finance, but if you want to go up to the higher echelons in management, you want to learn some management skills also, right? You want to learn probably man management. I have many friends who are chartered accountants and they are going for MBA after doing chartered accountancy, right? Because, it's good to be, let's say, proficient in finance and financial calculations and all that stuff. But let's say if you want to become a CEO of a company, or let's say a vice president, a regional manager, all that kind of stuff, you have to have certain skills which are pertinent to management, dealing with people, right? I mean, dealing with a heterogeneous mix of people who are coming from different conditionings, backgrounds, credentials, and it gives you a lot of experience how to deal, how to crack a deal and all that stuff. And then you are not only taught, you are also given exposure by the way of these experiential learning programs. So probably you go into a company and you study the kind of bottlenecks which they have, the financial constraints maybe they are having. You make a presentation, you present it in front of the board. Probably they offer you a position for, let's say, somebody who is a VP finance, that you won't get just by doing a chartered accountancy. I'm not, denigrating chartered accountancy. I know it's a very tough course, and congratulations to you for, completing that. I was myself a cricketer. I tied my hand and couldn't do it. Right. So, right. So that's a great, a skill and a qualification to have. But I have people who did their chartered accountancy, came to ISB, did the PGP, because PGP program is one, that takes you in the entire world, and you go places with that kind of a thing in your CV. And then, of course, they started their own venture in an altogether different thing altogether. So it depends upon where your mind goes, honestly. I have people coming from law, engineering, and all that stuff. Yeah.
So that's what I was just skeptical about. This one thing is that academics is also a factor or parameter to hit into the desk of ISB. So as you know, chartered accountancy, just to pass out the exam, it takes a hell lot of time for us. But moreover, expecting the luxurious percentages, I think it is not. It is. I think it is just. The rankers would be having super cool percentages, like 70% is the maximum what a chartered accountant can actually
no. So what happens is we, regularly get these applications from chartered accountants, right? So the process team knows what kind of percentage are given in the chartered for a chartered accountant, right? So, and also, have you done your graduation?
Yes, I did my graduation, but that too, it is from a distant. It's a correspondence
So
graduation.
that will also not matter. Also, I mean, you have done your chartered accountancy. So, I mean, in chartered accountancy itself, the percentages do not matter that much. Apart from that, you know, I mentioned about the other aspects of the application, the kind of essays that you write. Let's say you'll have to write as to why you want to come to do PGP. So I gave you a few food for thought, right? Sitting
Yes,
here.
yes.
So that basically gives the confidence to the team as to what you're looking for when you're coming for the PGP at ISB. So that also helps.
Sure.
Yeah.
I understand, because there were few misconceptions before taking a call with you right today.
Yeah.
We were doing few sort of research from our side as well. So there were few misconceptions that, you being a chartered accountant, you might have done some bachelor's degree also. So they were like mostly particular about what percentage did you get in the bachelor's degree. Then I said it is just a correspondence, and it is just we need to have some degree in hand. So we need to do that. So it was just like 60 plus 63%, which is not again a good percent for anyone to maybe like to hit top university like ISB. So I don't know how it is actually matters the numbers of our degrees.
So I hope I have clarified a few of those doubts, right?
Yes,
So what else happens is, let's say, as an admissions team, we are also looking at the progression which somebody is making, right? So we understand that probably a 60% in graduation is not something which is very great. But if somebody has been able to do, let's say, a chartered accountancy, then he or she is showing the progression and the will to work hard, which is very much required when you're coming to do a PGP. It's a very fast-paced program. It's a 1 year, 52-week program. I mean, people submit their assignments at 2 a.m. in the morning for an 8 a.m. class, and that's the fun at ISB. And that's why the companies, they come in the 5th term only and give you the offer letters, because they know that if anybody has been able to sustain themselves for that period of time at ISB, they deserve to be where they are, right? So, you know, so that is the kind of transformation which we also bring about. And again, the way you write your essays, any kind of initiatives that you have taken, any kind of projects that you're a part of, everything matters. And your test score, of course, GMAT or GRE also matters.
Okay, great. Thank you, Ketan. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, so I can see Shantanu. Please go ahead, Shantanu.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
Actually, I've been following ISB for around the last 1 or 2 years, and I've been will be trying this year for ISB. So one thing that I have noticed from the reviews or the discussions with some students on LinkedIn, that the scholarships, the number of scholarships is not very high. It means like we are talking about 950 top talented students, and getting the best out of the best.
Yes.
So can you throw some light on that? How many? So you definitely touched upon that in the presentation. But I just wanted to go what, because it hands down we have to take loans and all. So we have to just look also from a ROI perspective.
Yeah. So what happens is that if I talk about scholarship, around 25 to 30% of the class gets some scholarship or the other. So that's the number we have, right? If you fall into the merit scholarship range, the merit scholarship goes from 5% to 100% of the tuition fee also. And there are people who get up to 100% of the tuition fee. In fact, when I was going through my presentation, I showed the photograph of 2 students who got 100% scholarship this year, right? So that is the kind of, scholarships that we have. Apart from that, let's say there are 70 plus corporate scholarships, which I mentioned. There is one Mr. Ramesh Khanna scholarship, which is for the meritorious students. There is a Bajaj Auto scholarship, which is for the sole earning members of the family. There is a female diversity scholarship for everybody who is a female candidate here. You can apply for a female diversity scholarship also. So there are very many scholarships that you can apply for when also you make it to ISB. It's not that every scholarship comes to you with your offer letter. You have a chance sitting in ISB and applying for those scholarships. And also for loan facility, your offer letter is good enough. It can provide you the loan without any collaterals. And with the kind of average CTC we have, I mean, even if somebody gets stuck in the rut of that average, there's not too much of a problem in paying off the loan.
Okay. Thank you. Just another question. This is a more specific kind of question. So I'm working in a product management role but in a manufacturing industry. So now the product management roles that we usually are seeing nowadays are mostly related to technology or IT companies. And now, can you just throw some light on how is it different at ISB, or all the product management roles related to these two sectors only?
No, the project management roles are offered in all the sectors, very many, in fact, very many from manufacturing also, right? So it is definitely not restricted to only IT, as you said. It is offered to very many people. In fact, people from, let's say, different backgrounds also come and they make it to product management, right? So leave alone somebody is already into product management. He can obviously make those switches. And so that can happen.
Okay.
So switching at ISB is not that big a deal. You don't come to ISB and worry for placements, right? So if you do a little bit of research, ISB is what it is because of the kind of, research facilities, because of the kind of faculties, the curriculum, and the placement which it has for the students and the candidates.
Okay. Sir, now just last question.
Yeah.
From the pool of 900 students, you have students with 0 years of experience as well, and as you said, around 24 years or some.
Not zero.
Kind
minimum
of
2 years of experience is required.
Minimum 2 years of experience.
Yeah.
Okay. So this different variation in experience, how do you place all, like, is that the requirement from the companies will be different for different roles, for different
Yes,
positions?
it can happen. Let's say a company comes and it is coming up with a VP role, and the minimum criteria is that they want people to have, let's say, minimum 5 years of experience. So of course, only those people can sit in those, profiles. Also at ISB, we have a senior executives club. So anybody who has got an experience of 8 years plus, they automatically become a part of the senior executives class that we have at ISB. And the placement team also works separately with them to get them the kind of profiles that they are looking for, right? So we work separately, we work very diligently. The placement team is spread out in 4 locations in the country and 2 locations outside the country to get in the best of the companies according to the profiles. Of course, when a company comes and says that these many years of experience are actually required, and there are very many who also come with say that 2 years of experience is a must, then anybody, let's say from 2 to 5 years, can apply. So this is the kind of placement arrangement that we make.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, I can see Vichindana. If I'm pronouncing your name right, please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
So my question is about the FPM program of ISB. So my question is basically, what is the expectation of the, ISB about prior research publications expectations and the average GMAT score required for it? And I want to specifically ask for the FPM finance or information system.
You're asking primarily for the research programs?
Doctorate.
So what I'll do is, because I am not somebody who's looking at it, right? If you can connect with me on LinkedIn, I will probably try and connect you with somebody who is actually looking after the research and fellowship programs, right? And they will probably be, in a better condition to tell you and disseminate the kind of information that you are looking at, right?
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I can see Karuna. Karuna, please go ahead.
Hi, Gyaan.
Hi.
Okay, so my question is related to people who are coming with, let's say, an experience of more than 10 years. Like I'm personally married and I've got a very small child. If I choose to go for this program, which is an in-campus program, how does, the campus life support, family? Like some institutes abroad, they do provide accommodation and everything.
Yes.
For, let's say, the family, the child and the husband. So is there something that's provided by ISB as well in this regard?
Yeah, so what happens is, it's an in-campus program, so everybody stays in the campus. For candidates who are married and particularly who have a child, they are given studio accommodation. So they can apply for it as they, get the offer letter. They can tell the process team, they just send an email to them that they would require a studio accommodation wherein they can shift with their families. There is also a crèche, at the campus. So that is taken care of. In fact, the cohort that you become a part of, that is also very supportive. In fact, I've seen a lot of people, at least 10 to 15 people every time who come up with families, right? And the entire cohort basically stands out to support them. In fact, I've seen people, who just recently got married, who started their families in the campus itself. So no, that is the kind of support that we have in the campus. and it's not some kind of an impediment in your way of doing a PGP from ISB.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Karuna. Okay, so now we have Aditya. Aditya, please go ahead.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, myself, Dr. Aditya, actually, I am working in government sector. So my
Hi,
question
Dr.
is that, sir, how my work experience is counted for selection in ISB? That is my concern, sir.
So how many years of work experience do you have, sir?
Sir, actually around 8 years.
8 years. So that's fine. I mean, what is exactly that you're doing? I mean, you are a doctor, right?
Yes, sir. I am doctor, but actually I am doing in drugs control department. That is a drugs enforcement wing.
So that's okay. I mean, for us, it's not a bias. You can be from any of the department. You can be doing any of the things. The thing that is required at ISB is that somebody has to be working after graduation. We count the work experience. So after graduation, the guy should have, or the girl should have, minimum 2 years of work experience. So you can be coming from any sector. As I think if you attended my presentation, which was a very short one, people do come from a mountaineering background, right? So yes, all kinds of work experiences and all kinds of experiences are equally welcome, and yours is not something which is too outlandish.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay, so we have Akarshan. Akarshan, please go ahead.
Hello, Ketan. Good evening, and good evening to all the participants here.
Hi.
And firstly, I'd like to thank you for giving a wonderful and rousing introduction and about the course that is being offered at ISB. However, I have a couple of questions. On at least one, you may find out little basic, or I would say a childish question.
Yeah.
So I already have a master's in management already. So how can I address my future, and how can I address my career prospects in ISB going ahead?
Okay, so I actually interacted. In fact, the round 2 deadlines were going on. In fact, I just got free with them 2 days back. And at least there were 10 students who had done their MBA prior to coming to ISB, right? So what happens is, for us, it's not something which is a kind of, a barrier into somebody coming to ISB, even after doing an MBA, because, your MBA degree or whatever kind of qualification that you have done has taken you to a certain level where you wanted to. Now, if we want to make it big, or let's say if we want to go to the higher echelons of management, if we want to make a transformation, we need to have some kind of extra skills. And that is, required in this fast changing dynamic world that we are in. So we understand that absolutely. There are so many people who want that transmutation in their careers, right? And that doesn't happen overnight. Of course, you have to learn new skills. You have to be the part of a program which is considered to be the #1 MBA program, and the kind of curriculum that we have, the kind of case-based methodologies that we have, that actually takes you to that level. So from our side, it is never a no-no, even for a candidate who has done an MBA. Absolutely not.
Okay, that helps well. So the second question is, while you were mentioning in the speech, you had initially mentioned upon the public policy program that is being not on public policy, you had stressed upon. Just be curious as to how and why public policy has been gaining up all these years, all these months in recent times as a management program. So how is it fruitful in industry? Just out of curiosity.
So, public policy can be adopted by or can be pursued by anybody coming from any sector. Let's say, I mean, if you're coming from law background, I'm just giving you a random case, and there was somebody who was interacting with me. So a person who has the knowledge of law, of course, he can also get into a public policy thing. He can probably go into, somebody who is the face of the company when it comes to making public policies, because he knows the legal aspect of it. He also knows how to execute it so that you don't fall into that government trap. They don't do any fallacies, or they do not do anything which is contravening that law. Also, let's say anybody who is coming from finance, now he can also go into public policy, because there are various financial policies which companies making, the big MNCs, and they can definitely contribute into that if they know how a policy is made, what are the things that you should be taking heed of, the sacrosanct things that you can that you should definitely keep an eye upon, and how to execute it. So these are the 3 main facets of a policy or a public policy, right? So anybody coming from any background, if they want to get into that public policy, they are taught on those terms as to how the plan is made, what are the nuances of it, what can go right or wrong, and how do you execute it. So that's the complete package. And that's why I think this is gaining immense importance in, as you rightly said, in a short period of time.
Okay, that helps. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay, so I can see Noel. I have also shared my LinkedIn profile with everyone. So if I'm not able to take any of the questions, probably you can connect me there. Noel, you can please go ahead.
Hi, Ketan.
Hi, Noel.
Yeah. So my question was actually, the thing is, what is the prospect for a 8+ year old, experienced candidate? So the thing is, who doesn't have a much diverse profile. He is a regular engineer and participated in some NGOs and did some works, but isn't too diverse as maybe into the army or into sports or into other criteria. So what the thing outside what we've studied or had some exposure was 8+ years experience tends to go downward even for placements as well, and for picking up into the ISB. Is that the case, or just
no, it doesn't happen that way. I'll tell you the stats for ISB that we have for this year. So if you just attended my presentation, you must have seen that there are people with 2 years to 24 years in the class. First thing.
Right? Yes,
correct. Yes. And almost 8% of the entire cohort of, let's say, 900 have an experience of 8 years plus. So that is not a small number when it comes to ISB. That is around 70 to 90 people in the class with that kind of an experience, right? Also, at ISB, when the selection process is being made, we, as I said previously also, we are actually looking as to what that candidate is looking for, right? And that is what propels us to take that candidate into the class. The candidate should have the clarity as to what he is trying to do the MBA for. Similarly, since you said that you are not coming with a lot of diversity, so diversity does not only mean that you are only you have to have a bizarre or some kind of a very weird kind of a background, like a sports person, a mountaineer, or blogger, not something like that. Diversity can also be compensated, let's say, with the years of experience do you have. So we also see as to what is the kind of experience that you are bringing to the class, from which the other candidates can also benefit. So that is also something which we are taking care, because that's why these candidates who have a experience of 15 years, 8 years, 12 years, they are making to the class, because it's a class where all the ideas have to permeate and suffuse. The younger folks stand a very good chance to learn from a person who is more senior to them, like you, and you also stand a chance to learn from somebody who's got a 15 years of experience. So all kinds of people are there in the class. We judge them by the way of their profiles, the overall profiles that they make, and the kind of thing or the kind of experience or the kind of skills which they bring into the class. So do not think that only diversity means that you have to have a very different kind of profile from somebody else. Not everybody is as diverse. We are looking for what you are bringing to the class, right? That's what it is.
Yeah. Thanks, Ketan. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, Shauradipto Ganguly, please go ahead. I pronounced your name right.
Yeah. Surprisingly, you have, sir.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, good evening, Ketan.
Good evening.
So firstly, so I have 2 questions for you, basically. So one is maybe a continuation of what Noel was asking. That when you say you're looking for some extracurricular or some extra engagement other than your academics or your work life.
Yeah.
So what is the level of engagement you're looking at? Suppose, my case, I can say I do have a professional degree in painting, but currently it's like, I am not doing any kind of painting work or whatever you can say, neither professionally nor, maybe very regularly that I am, doing exhibitions or doing some sort of things. So what is the level of engagement? Similarly, say for social work, I am, kind of associated with the CSR level works the company is doing currently. So that is what I wanted to understand, that what is the level of engagement you're looking at when you talk about this extracurricular activities or social activities or maybe some position of leadership. So just wanted your views on.
Correct. So, the extracurricular activities, of course, for a working professional should be not too old. Let's say if somebody has an experience of 2 years, his extracurricular activities, let's say he did in class 12th, also matter, because that is not too far back, right? And then that extracurricular should be, let's say, a decent one. It should not be an inter-school kind of a thing, right? So that is not something which you mentioned. But if, let's say, you have done it at a district level, state level, national level, that is definitely something which you can write. Also, you say that you have an interest in painting. So there is a portion in the application which is dedicated to hobbies also, right? Okay. So you can put it there. Everything adds to the gravitas of your application. But the only thing which we suggest everybody is when they are filling their application and when they are writing those essays, please write only those things which you have actually done, right? Please do not be melodramatic. It is your own story. You are the painters of your own beautiful picture. Try and embellish and ornate it in the best possible way that you can. But the fact is, only write things which you have done, because, you know, you can write painting and that basically propels or incites the admissions committee or the alums who are looking at your essay to ask a question to you from that domain, right? So that can happen. Right. You know, you never know that we have somebody from the painting industry itself. As I told you, there was somebody who said that it's very easy for somebody to say that I have interest in cricket. Everybody's plays cricket, right? But you don't have to be a dilettante. Right. You don't have to have superficial knowledge of that thing. If you're really interested, you should be having some intricate knowledge so that you have a chance to steer your interviews also. Let's say if you write 3-4 lines in your essay and say that I'm very passionate about painting and I want to come back to do PGP and I want to learn the management skills of how a company is run, and I want to do some painting business of my own after doing PGP, that's a valid you know, reason for coming to ISB, isn't it? Right. But the fact is that you should have that kind of a knowledge to face those questions when they come from painting domain. So this is the kind of engagement. Also, let's say even if your work's fair, let's say the company you are working into, have you taken any kind of initiative? Have you taken any kind of project? Have you done something which has made a lot of profit for the company? Or apart from the company thing, have you started your own venture? Are you looking to start your own venture? Everything, you know, basically, you know, adds to the kind of grandeur of your application. So that's what it is. Level matters, but yes, even a startup matters. So let's say there are very many people who have their own businesses, let's say who are working in a different company, MNC, and who have their own startups. I mean, it's not something which is a unicorn. It's just a startup which is probably having a turnover of 5 lakhs or 10 lakhs or 15 lakhs, whatever it is. But it shows that the guy has got an experience of different facets of business also. So that adds to the application again.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Thank you. And one more question I was having, that in the academic calendar, do you have any student exchange or international immersion program as part of this PGP course?
Yeah.
May not be international, maybe domestic or any kind of student exchange.
It's an international. So probably if you did not attend my, presentation earlier, we have types with 52 top global institutions in the world, including the MITs and the LBS, right? So people go and spend an entire term or two, depending upon the kind of course and curriculum that they are into. And also you get very many inbound exchange programs also. So you learn from the kind of peers that you face in the class. So it's a very, eclectic kind of precarious kind of experience that you get from people. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Ketan. That answers my questions. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so I cannot see any more hands raised. Any questions, I'll be more than happy to take. Otherwise, we are already probably 1 hour, 10 minutes into the session. I've already shared my LinkedIn profile with all of you, and you can connect me on LinkedIn. And any questions, we can just set up a call whenever you feel like, and I'll be more than happy to give my advice whenever you think is the time. So thank you very much again. I don't know if Hassanji is still with us, but thank you very much again to him for arranging it. Probably I'm ending this session, and thank you all for attending it so late. I know all of you most of you are working professionals. So after working for, let's say, 8 to 10 hours, you found time to attend this session. That shows the kind of alacrity or the kind of, zest and zeal that you have for becoming a part of any of the top institutions that we can think of. Thank you very much and most welcome. I'll look forward to it, connecting with you on LinkedIn also. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Ketan. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.